this weekend you guys got 10 qualifiers. You know, you guys got 10 qualifiers starting at the beginning of the season. Did you see the potential of a team with 10 qualifiers?
No. And on top of it, you know, I think it's been nice to see what our Big 12 has done over the years. We ended up with 78 qualifiers. Cal Baptist, you know, you take them out, obviously that's 70, I mean, not that they didn't seem to be quite ready to compete at the Big 12, but, you know, it's a big number, 78, you know. I can't remember, I mean, I want to say it was in the 30s or low 40s when we started. So I think that just tells you a little bit about the conference. And then with us qualifying 10 in a very competitive conference, that's pleasing. Yeah, it gives us, saying that we did something this year and we've done enough to get everyone there. But you know, taking 10, I mean, we have to have guys participate in scoring. Got to win matches, you know. 0-2 doesn't cut anything.
What does a successful weekend look like for you guys?
You know, that's, you know, it's who we are. You know, higher than probably what you imagine, what I'm hoping for, right? And so that's us, right? So I don't think we walked out of the Big 12 really happy with ourselves. Yeah, scored 130 plus points, which won a lot of tournaments with 130 points there, you know, but still taking second. There's something that stings you a little bit. So successful weekend would be is high expectations and hopefully high level performance.
Coach, can you give us an update on Carter?
Carter Russell, yeah, he's in really a lot better shape than following the tournament, and so I feel really good. He'll wrestle. He's going to step out, and it's not going to be. I don't think it'd be anything that we'll be embarrassed about. You know? So he'll compete. He's ready to go, and has done a nice job with just quickly preparing for the tournament. I mean, just from the standpoint of what he's had to do this week, has been a lot of work to get him ready to go. And he's really kind of grown up through this moment, you know, some serious stuff, and your season's on the line, and what are you going to do? And it seemed like he had a mature attitude towards it, which makes all of our lives a lot easier.
Obviously, you've been really critical of him this year, but heading into this NCAA tournament, how do you feel he's developed from this time a year ago as a true freshman?
Oh, he's way better, right? I mean, remember when he was a true freshman, you know. But is the better I'm talking about enough, you know? I think this process of what's happened to him at the Big 12 and the process has helped him kind of realize how important wrestling is to him, what it means to him, you know, and how quickly your career can go. You know, you're in your second year and you got 2 years left, you know, and so I think reality's kind of set in, and he's got a tough tournament, and he's got a tough road, but he's a tough kid, you know, and what I've seen in the last 10 days has been promising.
Do you know of any past
10 or 8 days, what has it been?
Do you know of any past injuries like that he's had to deal with previously?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's had injuries he's had to deal with last year after the Big 12 as well.
Coach, what are some? Coach, what are some of your first impressions with the brackets, the draws? I know some guys got 31 versus the 2 seed, back-to-back All-Americans. 41, 49.
You know, it's hard to control what you don't have your hands on, you know, and we definitely don't have our hands on how the committee comes up with their reasoning of why they do things. Reese Woodcraft, you know, really? You know, number 2 guy's got a tough guy, right? He's a tough guy that's excited about wrestling right now. So I wish we could have seen a few things differently, but you know, it just seems like every year it's this, you know. And to be honest with you, I don't think we got it as heavy as some other teams, you know. I mean, there's been years that just seemed like somebody had to handpick this against us, you know. That's not the case this year. I mean, we got some tough draws, but we also have some guys that are ready to wrestle.
John, in the past maybe 15 years, what do you think have been some of the biggest things you point to in terms of just college wrestling evolving and the sport itself kind of changing?
Well, I think one, you know, is we've committees that over the years, the NCAA has created a really great tournament, you know, that has been sold out for a lot of years, if not all the years, if you're talking 15 years, you know. You know, it's created some, the competition's been created some parity that we've seen. I think that the Big 12 showed a great deal of leadership when our conference dismantled it back in 2010, 2011, you know, showed some courage and some energy that we needed in wrestling for the conference. And so I think when you have those things and you're promoting the good and you're not being selfish, I think everything grows and everything gets tougher. I mean, it doesn't happen by not participating, not giving in at times, not doing things that are bigger and better for the sport rather than yourself or your own program. You don't grow, you know, where we're at in the sport, you know, with 30 men, 40 men without a counterpart, you know, you don't grow, you know. And so I think we've grown by a lot of good people making good decisions and keeping wrestling in general with the idea we want to grow it. And I think that's happened in the United States definitely in the last 15 years.
Is it hard for a traditional powerhouse like OSU to adapt to a more, where there's more parity across the country?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not so much, you know, it's not so much, it'd be nice that we stop changing our conference every 6 or 7 years, you know, shit. I mean, doesn't help it, doesn't help us, you know. We're bringing 4 teams in that got no wrestling teams. I mean, you know, so eventually, you know, somebody beats you up in recruiting with these negative things, you know, over the years. And so we've done a good job of, we're still Oklahoma State, we're still a great program, and we're gonna continue with that mission, you know, but hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach, is the approach any different this week, it being in Tulsa versus when you guys travel? Or is your schedule a little bit different? That's what
Yeah, you know, it has been. Just knowing that you get to jump in a van and drive an hour makes things a lot easier. You know, and not any core really. If we need to stay back a couple hours tomorrow, which we were leaving tomorrow sometime, that's fine. That's easy. You know, so. And I think it's just a level of comfort, you know, that we should have as we go in. I mean, there's no disadvantage of wrestling in Tulsa, let's put it that way. And we need to take advantage of everything. And I thought our Big 12 tournament last week was really good, and I thought being in Tulsa made a difference for us.
What was different about Plott as in the Big 12 tournament as opposed to his last 5 bouts?
Oh, I just think you kind of realize that it's time to wrestle better than you've ever wrestled in your year. If you want to do something in the end, that's what you do. You wrestle better than you've wrestled all season long. It doesn't matter whether you've taken 4 or 5 or 6 losses or whether you're undefeated. You still wrestle better. Dayton Fix, you got to wrestle better than you've wrestled all year to go win a title, as well as everyone. And so I think when you grab a hold of that and have a belief system in that, and I think that's the one thing we've talked about is wrestling better than we have all year. And what do? You peak. Peaking is not necessarily an art to do. Peaking is an attitude. It's like, hey, I'm going to train a little bit harder. I'm going to do some things here at the end that it's going to take some energy out of me, take some effort out of me, and for that reason, I'm going to perform at my best. And so peaking is a state of mind as much as anything. That you're going to compete at a high level, and I'm going to compete at my best.
I'm sure in your mind he hasn't peaked yet, quite yet.
Well, I would say you look pretty good at the Big 12, and he just seems to be doing pretty good with in the room. Seems to be enjoying working hard and enjoying the experience of another preparation for the national tournament. So these are neat events for us. These are events that we remember. These are events that we dreamed about. Especially these young guys that are going through it right now. This is your time. These are things you don't forget. These are things that you remember for a long time. Great performances or bad performances. It's a memory that's going to stick with you.
What do you sense
Might as well make it good.
What do you sense the excitement's been when you're talking with boosters or supporters or casual fans of getting this tournament back into Oklahoma and Tulsa getting to host for the first time?
Well, I think it's been good. I think Tulsa's really put a big effort into it. It's not going to go smooth. And, we went to, where did we wrestle last year? My gosh, Detroit?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I'm sure, there's going to be some, my experience there wasn't good, right? Not because we didn't do much there, right? But it wasn't good for a lot of reasons, right? And I'm sure that, I think Tulsa's planned on that. Don't get me wrong. I think a lot of people enjoyed Detroit. I didn't. But you're going to have the same here. But I think that Tulsa's really opened up their arms and did some pretty cool things that most cities wouldn't do, like our big old guy.
The
I
driller
saw
with the
that.
singles?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'd like to go take a picture next to that. I don't think, may never see that again, I don't know. But that's pretty cool. And I will take a picture next to it. Yeah, now somebody's gonna have to point upwards. Yeah, they've done some neat things, and I think you're gonna see some neat things around the venue. And so, I'm not too worried about it. I just know that there's a lot of effort being done to put on a good NCAA championship, not only for the student athletes, which is important, but for also the public and the fans that are sold the arena out, which is pretty cool.
I know there's some wrestlers from Tulsa, multiple. You talked about for the student athletes as a whole, but individually on your team, how important is it for them?
Oh, they're excited, right? Just don't let it get in your way. Make sure that you make it a resource to you that benefits your performance, not something that's going to cripple you. Let's go. I got a chance to wrestle in Oklahoma City, 7 miles from my hometown, when I was a sophomore in college, and I think I was hurt at the time with the shoulder. finished second in that tournament. I think wrestling in Oklahoma City that year, I'm not sure I could have done that in Detroit. And so it was a benefit. I used it as a benefit. So I hope our guys really embrace that and enjoy the experience of being able to wrestle, not only in Oklahoma, but those guys in Tulsa being able to wrestle in front of some of their closest friends and family.